Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, we don't know who will host the Oscars, but we know someone who won't. Also, the ABC song is getting a makeover. All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show podcast from RadioU. Coming up in this episode, you hear a bit from Nikki, who is also joining me now. Welcome back to the show, Nikki.
Oh, I love our podcast intros. Hi, podcast.
Yeah, we can talk as long as we want. We can say whatever we want.
That used to be a thing of like, should we talk a lot or a little in a podcast intro? Because it's just talking into yourself. So like, you know, you can just talk now however long we want to.
Why limit ourselves? And I know what the people want. The people want more Nikki. So I feel like we should talk the longer, the better.
Yeah, sure. I'm always up for that.
I hope you have a lot of to say, Nikki. I wanted to ask you, it's been a while since we talked movies. The last time we talked movies, we were talking Unfrosted. That was like in the spring sometime. It's been a while.
And you are asking me if there's been any changes?
Yes, I'm asking. I know you don't see movies that frequently, but what have you seen in the last couple months to give me an update on?
What was that one movie, the unsung hero thing?
King and Country.
That doesn't count because my mom wanted me to take her. So I took my mom, and we know that doesn't count. That has nothing to do with your preferences. But it was still a cute movie. It was still good.
Okay, thumbs up from Nikki on that one.
Then on my other side, I grew up watching, my dad loved Axel Foley, and like that was it. Like Eddie Murphy was like my dad's favorite.
I mean, what was that? Like the 80s or whatever? Eddie Murphy was king back then.
So I remember growing up, my dad was like, no, you will learn about Eddie Murphy. And who was the other one? John Candy was another one. Yes. And there was like a couple of movies that I probably should not. I know, but I shouldn't have seen them. But I think that was just a way that, you know, my dad liked the joke from Axel Foley stuff for the banana and the tailpipe. And he would laugh at that all the time when I was a kid, and I just didn't have a reference for it. So he's like, well, sit down and we're going to watch it. So I watched the Netflix Axel Foley in his honor, because I was like, I got to watch this with you, Dad. So we watched that one. And outside of that, I mean, there's been some Chinese and Korean dramas, but you don't want to know.
Did you? Oh, you're the perfect person to ask about this.
Yeah.
Did you watch that show? I think it was a Korean show. It was on Netflix. About
Sweet Home?
What's that?
So that's the monster one?
I don't know. I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the one where the girl turns into a chicken nugget. Did you watch that?
Chicken nugget? Yes, I did. It wasn't bad.
Is that worth like somebody who doesn't watch Korean shows watching? Like, should I turn that on?
No, I don't think that might not be your best starting off point.
Okay.
But it is cute and it's clever. But I don't think you'll enjoy it.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's go back to Beverly Hills Cop then. It doesn't sound like you're the world's biggest fan of the originals back in the day, but how does the new one stack up and compare?
Oh, I loved it. I had a great time. And I know some people are like, oh, if there's language or violence, let's glaze past that and just, I had good childhood memories, which again sounds bad, of all that. But I enjoyed it. It's just hard when they make movies, they remake things, or they're like, here's a new one, the next installment. Because the old people from the old movies, outside of Eddie Murphy, they all look really puffy and weird. Because I think they get like a lot of fillers done. Yeah. And like, is that sort of puffiness?
It's hard. It's hard to age as well as Eddie Murphy is aged.
Oh, he looks really good. And he's really old. But I think it's Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, from Santa Claus.
He's really puffy. And it really puffy. So outside of that, though, I really enjoyed it. I liked it.
Okay. That's, I hate to say this, but I've never seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
You haven't?
No.
Well, my dad's coming over because get ready.
I know the song. That's about it.
And then what was, he always liked planes, trains, and.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that one. And then I think Field of Dreams. And I was like, why are we crying?
That's another one that I was talking to Angela, Mrs. Hudson, recently, and that was another movie she could not believe I've never seen it, and I don't know if I ever. It's crazy I haven't seen it. It's a baseball movie. Kevin Costner. Why have I not seen Field of Dreams? But I never have. So
that's crazy if you haven't seen that. That is shocking because it's totally up your alley. How's your relationship with your dad? Because that also will play a part.
Yeah, it feels like it would be better if I watch Field of Dreams. I don't know.
Because you're watching, you're like, Dad, how come you never spent time with me?
I can wait. Like he has a catch in the movie, right? Like that's a thing.
Well, I think it's because he never. Well, gosh, it's been a long time, so I think it was because he never met his dad. And yeah, because well, yeah, no, I don't.
Is his dad one of the ghosts that comes through the cornfield, or is that?
Are we spoiling a?
How can I spoil a movie I've never seen?
Yeah, I think it is. Yes, and I just remember how bad it is because I've never met. I don't. No, I'm not going to share all that. That's too much family stuff. Never mind.
I don't know where you're going with that. But I was going to say, I do. Maybe it will bring up some kind of weird memories or emotion with me. Because I do remember when I was a young child playing baseball with my dad, and he was throwing pop flies to me, and I missed one. And when I was a kid, I wore glasses, and I missed it, and it like hit me right in the eye.
Oh, gosh.
And wearing glasses, it like smashed the glass into my face. So bad enough to get a baseball right to the eye. Worse to get a baseball smashing glasses into your face. And that was... I don't think we ever played catch after that.
Field of Dreams is deeper, Hudson. Like it's on another level because like I've never met my dad's dad, never met him.
Oh, okay.
And I just remember I was like, is this why we're crying? It's like, is this what we're doing? I don't know.
We're really opening up here.
I know. Gosh, okay, let me get
This
some
is what
tissues.
happens when we can talk for as long as we want.
I need to go watch the chicken nugget movie.
As a palate cleanser?
Yes, as a cleanser.
We talked this long. We're going to keep going because I haven't even gotten to tell you all the stuff that I've seen. I don't know how much you've heard from the show or the podcast, but I've watched a lot of movies.
You have your board?
Yeah. Well, I like to keep up. So, for example, this week, very timely, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, did you like it? Eric Salton said it was fantastic.
I did. I don't remember. Have you seen the first two? Because you haven't seen the new one, right?
I saw the first one. I didn't see the second one. And I haven't seen the third one.
Do you remember like the violence? It's like over the top, right?
Sure.
I don't remember how I felt about the violence being so over the top in the first two, but in this one, it's so over the top, ridiculous, and just like comic that I'm not even like, I didn't even flinch. I wasn't even wincing. There was a lot of like, Wolverine claws to the groin and things like that.
Sure.
And in the past, I feel like, or if they had done it slightly different, I feel like that would have been like, ooh, but this time it wasn't even like that. I didn't even.
Yeah, you're desensitized now.
I'm desensitized. So. Yeah. And there was so much cursing in the movie, so many raunchy jokes that, I'm just desensitized to it. But what I was going to say, I do like, though, it's the kind of movie that Marvel needs right now. Because it just makes fun of how bloated and convoluted the whole thing has become and all the rights issues and everything. So all those jokes definitely landed.
It seemed like everybody was excited that it was making fun of its own universe and the universes around it. So I thought that was needed.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, too, is when they throw out it's just a joke a second kind of movie. And so when they throw out so many jokes, odds are you're going to laugh at enough of them to feel like it was a funny movie when you walk away from it. You know what I mean?
Sure,
even if there's a lot of jokes that don't hit at all, there's going to be enough jokes that you're like, okay, that was funny, that you walk out and go, that was a funny movie.
So it was good. So you liked it?
I liked it, yeah. Although I do think it's the worst of the three so far, I hate to say.
The hand
strikes.
Well, what else have you seen?
Nikki, I watched it. I think you would appreciate this. I watched the first Mr. Bean movie recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Are we talking because I've only seen the Netflix show. And
I didn't know there was a Netflix show.
Oh yeah, he did it was him and like a bee. So I don't know if it's technically Mr. Bean, but it's that same guy.
I enjoy the Mr. Bean. I didn't know in the Mr. Bean movies, I thought he was completely silent. He talks a little bit.
He goes,
yeah, he does a weird voice and stuff, but he does have some lines.
He's got words. Yeah.
I enjoyed that a surprising amount. Oh, Nikki, have you seen this is the last one you need to know about. Have you seen?
And then we'll let you guys have your podcast.
Yeah, that's right. You can move on to hear more of me talking without Nikki as much.
Sorry, guys.
Have you seen Godzilla -1?
No, but it's on one of the streaming services.
It should be on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay, wait. Is that the Godzilla one from the spring, like the full movie?
Yeah, like the Japanese one that won an Oscar and stuff like that.
No, I want the American one. The one that was. What's that one?
I've seen that one too. Yeah, Godzilla X Kong. something.
Is it Max or Paramount?
That's on Max. That is
Max.
on Max.
Okay, yeah, I just put it in my thing because I like the Godzilla movies, not the old ones. I like cuddly fat Godzilla where he's just misunderstood and traumatic destruction to cities, but in a modern way. I like those.
Okay. I think you will like both. A lot of people didn't like the American version one because it didn't make sense and didn't have enough going on. Hello, it's a Godzilla movie. What do you want to be like? What do you want to make sense about it? It's a giant lizard that's like radioactive living under the ocean. I don't know what people expect. I thought it was fun. But Nikki, you should on Netflix watch Godzilla -1. That's the Japanese one that's new.
The TV show?
No, it's a movie.
It's a movie? Okay.
It's a movie. It won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects, and it's a good Godzilla movie because there is plenty of Godzilla destroying stuff, and he's much more violent in this one. He's doing a little more killing than in the American version.
Like I said, I like the fat one. Remember the cuddly one when he's going through the water, and
swimming.
I like that one.
He's swimming in this one, but it has a really good heart-touching story as well. The people actually, unlike the American version, there is actually like a story to it. It does make sense. And it's very sweet, and I think, and it's foreign. I feel like you would like it.
I do. I love Japanese stuff, so I don't mind subtitles. So I've got that in the queue, and then I do have the new Empire in the queue as well. So,
right. So your homework in the next, I don't know, what do we do this every 3 months or so? In the next 3 months, I need you to watch both Godzilla movies and let me know which one you like better.
No, I'll just get in a mood, and then I'll just watch them both.
Yes, do it. All right. Thanks for hanging out, Nikki.
Oh, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you didn't just turn off.
The one guy who's still listening.
Of course, he's still into this. Of course, don't forget you can text 877 to RadioU, text hello, and text any other movie suggestions before we do our next quarterly roundup.
Yes, absolutely. It's the Hudson Show. Now, last night, I know I'm a few days behind, but I saved a few bucks by waiting until Tuesday to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. What did I think? Well, let me say that we learned earlier this week in the box office breakdown that Deadpool and Wolverine had the biggest opening weekend for an R-rated movie ever. After seeing it yesterday, and obviously being familiar with the Deadpool series before that, it's so unusual to me, so strange, and not in a bad way, but so strange that it is so widely popular when watching through it yesterday that the jokes in the movie, one, obviously there are R-rated jokes, very over-the-top sexual stuff, or the ones that aren't, are so like hyper-specific, very like online, or if you follow Marvel kind of stuff, superhero stuff very closely, it's all like, in a way I would consider niche. And so the fact that it is in the top 10 biggest opening weekends for a movie ever is very unusual to me. Maybe it's not as niche as it seems. That said, all those jokes that pay off for, like, it's a payoff for you if you followed Marvel and superhero stuff for a long time. In a funny way, it's a payoff that a regular Marvel movie cannot offer you, in a way. And so, I appreciate that. That said, the jokes are good. It's very funny throughout, at least to me. There was, like, every time there was a joke, there was a smattering of, like, I saw it a pretty full house last night, a smattering of laughter from throughout the audience, but there was only a few times where everybody got it, which I guess does go to the niche nature of the jokes. But then again, when you're throwing in so many, then, your batting average, even if it's low, is going to have everybody leaving the theater going, well, yeah, I laughed several times. But I will say, if you haven't seen it yet and you do plan on it, this is not a spoiler, but to me, the funniest joke was at the very end after the credits. This is a movie. Normally I say, if it's so good, put it in the actual movie. This was, before the credits. This was a case where the best joke was after the credits had rolled, and it was worth sticking around for. That said, let's see, the violence over the top. This is Deadpool to me. I don't know if this is how I felt the first couple times I saw the other Deadpool movies, but in this one, the violence is so over the top, so comic that, like, I didn't even wince when it was happening. And there's a lot of, let's just say a lot of crotches, took a lot of beatings in this movie. And I wasn't even, I didn't even flinch at this point. It wasn't perfect. I do feel like, at least from a comedy perspective, it was the least of the 3 Deadpool movies so far, but this cannot be a truer statement, and I feel like everybody kind of knows this, but if you liked the first 2 Deadpools, you're going to like this one as well. I enjoyed it. It's not a perfect movie, but it's fun. Dating apps are dead. At least that's what I hear from most of my single friends, although maybe they're the ones that are dead. But they still aren't completely useless. The dating apps, I mean. The reason I say that is they still present some exciting and unique opportunities that just weren't viable before dating apps came around. For example, you could kind of work the dating apps right now to give you a strong possibility of matching with an Olympian. One woman on TikTok has shown how she made that happen. All you need to do is quite simply look up where the Olympic Village is, where all the athletes are staying. Then you just switch your location on whichever your dating app, if it allows you to do that, to, of course, the location of the Olympic Village. And then, boom, you're swiping on Olympians. This is a wonderful mix of manifestation and being Delulu. Like, it's just right in the middle there where who knows what can happen, and you're kind of taking control of your own destiny, but also at the same time, realistically, even if you match with an Olympian that's in Paris right now, what are you going to do? It's probably a whole lot less for any kind of romantic future, but a whole lot more for some kind of story to tell your friends and possibly even your future children. Now, I have good news and bad news regarding the Oscars, because to me, it's never too early to start thinking about the Oscars. In fact, the Oscars may be my Roman Empire. I think about them constantly. But the good news, or the bad news, I should say, is that John Mulaney, who has been, some have been pushing forward a campaign to have him host the Oscars. He's turned it down. He is not going to do it when the Oscars roll around in the new year. He said no, which is really too bad because he would be a perfect host. But the bad news doesn't stop there, because Jimmy Kimmel, who has hosted 4 times now and was the host last time for the Oscars, has also turned it down, which really is going to leave the Oscars, the Academy, in a tough spot now, because it is a hard role to fill. It's a thankless job, high risk, possibly low reward for many stars that would be considered. And so it's going to be tough for the Oscars to figure this out. However, that's where the good news comes in. I know a guy who's available who would love to do it, love to take on the risk, even if the rewards aren't that great. A guy who has emceed at least one event and was asked to never do that again. It's me. I'm available. I will get a tux and everything. I can host the Oscars. Just waiting for a call. Today, Would You Rather Wednesday, of course. Today's question revolving around the Olympics, thanks to Tyler, who submitted this one. And that is, would you rather invent an Olympic sport or win 1 gold medal in an event of your choosing? Which would be more important to you? 8772 Radio U. We did hear from Charlotte, who said, I'd rather win a gold medal. The recognition and pride of being the best in the world at something would probably be unbeatable. I like that take. Then we also heard from Eric, who said, I'd go for inventing a sport. How awesome would it be to see athletes from all over the world competing in something you created? I mean, it would be cool. It would be cool. Now, I think I should throw out a caveat here that, and this is me adding a loophole, something else to think about, and that is, there's no guarantee if you invented an Olympic sport that it would become an Olympic sport while you were still around to see it. Maybe you invent a sport now. I mean, it takes a while for things to catch on. We don't know. Maybe that, what was it called? Battle ball or whatever the thing, you know, that video. That guy, maybe that'll be an Olympic sport one day after that guy's long gone. We don't know, and he'll never get that satisfaction. We heard from Erica, who says winning a gold medal is a lifelong dream for like basically any athlete. So I definitely choose the medal because it's just like a culmination of all of your years of hard work. and showing that you're the best at something. I like that too. Listen, I feel like it's the wrong answer, but it's my answer. And that is, I think winning the gold medal would be much cooler, because winning a gold medal, it shows, I get the feeling of satisfaction. Seeing other people play a sport that I came up with, whether it is at the Olympics or otherwise, I don't know if that will ever feel as cool as just knowing you're the best at something. But then again, I'm a super competitive guy. And I always worry too that gold medal, if I did, let's say in some bizarro world where I was a good enough athlete to win a gold medal, what do I do after that? How do you top that moment? I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know. That is my one worry, but I still think winning a gold medal, you get that on your shelf forever. I would wear it around town. How do you just not see people that have won gold medals wearing them constantly? I would never take that thing off, even when I showered. Let me know if you've seen this on TikTok. The viral gorilla sofas. Nikki is here with me. Nikki, have you seen these on your TikTok? The giant gorilla sofas?
Sometimes I don't think our For You page is the same. And so now by me looking this up, I've ruined it, and I'm going to get all these weird furniture ones.
But they're not weird. They look so cool. It's literally like a giant, bigger than any gorilla is in real life. And they're pretty big, but big enough that it would actually be a sofa for you. And
it looks like when you just moved out and you're in the frat house and some guy's like, dude, wait a minute. I got a gorilla.
Yeah.
And he stays in the house forever.
It definitely would be. I was going to ask you, what kind of house would you expect to walk into and see a gorilla sofa? Because they look, I think they look awesome, but they also look ridiculous. And no serious person could have this in their house.
Well, if you look it up, there's two variations. One variation looks like it's AI. It's not real. It's just showing you a gorilla sofa. But then if you actually look at the gorilla sofas you can buy, it's like, the Temu version. Yep. Where you're like, it's not exactly a gorilla, or it's not as nice as you think it would be. Yeah. But they're just so weird. I expect it to be some sort of guy's room, like a man cave, but you're single, but you still have a man cave. So it's your whole house.
Yeah. You need somebody to cuddle with. So a gorilla will do.
How could you even get it it must come in pieces. How could you get it in your house?
They really are that big. But that's why I brought this up, is because the AI version originally was kind of taking off on TikTok. And then I guess because in China, they can just, at the drop of a hat, whip anything together. They've whipped together these giant gorilla sofas, which do not look nearly, I guess this is unsurprising, but they don't look nearly as good or nearly as cool as the AI version. They actually kind of look, the face of the gorilla looks very sad.
Oh, so this makes more sense. So
would be better. A better term.
They both work. The AI gorilla sofa, that is what went viral. And then that took off more in China because they're like, hey, we can make this. And the ones in China just don't look nothing looks as good as AI.
No,
so
not when it comes to furniture.
Get one of those. That is ugly. I told Hudson off air, I hate gorillas. I hate monkeys. I hate that.
I really wasn't expecting that to be your response. That's like, you hate it because it's a gorilla. I did not see that coming.
It's too much, it's just too much.
So would it be too much to have a bear version of this then?
No, see, that makes more sense, doesn't it?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it does. It does, Hudson.
It does. There's nothing about that they make an equal amount of no sense.
And honestly, you wouldn't have to manipulate the gorilla sofa to turn it into a bear one too much. It's all like the same body type.
That's right.
But
just swap the face.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think I'll take the bear one, and I hear that's your order for one of the gorilla sofas.
Yeah, maybe we get a discount if we order multiple.
Buy two. It'll be shipped to your place, though. I don't want that outside my door.
The Olympics going on, and while it might seem like being an Olympic athlete is all fun and games, apparently it's not. Going to the Olympics this time around has had myriad issues with it, including, and this is one that's unexpected, the food that is provided for the athletes in the Olympic Village has been roundly criticized by athletes from many nations. The United States, if you follow many of our Olympic athletes on TikTok or Instagram, you see that they are not pleased with the food. It's crazy. There's even I'm seeing some videos here of like members of the swim team having to make do because the food that is actually provided in the food hall has just everybody saying it's no good. And so then the athletes are taking matters into their own hands, trying to like use what materials they can gather, what they have at their disposal, which isn't much, to try to make makeshift meals. And the video of the swim team, it literally looks like what you would do if you were like camping and you were trying to cook for yourself. And that, I mean, nobody's like, oh, I love camp cooking. That's better than eating what they are actually providing in the Olympic Village. Amelia Chatfield, she is a athlete out of Haiti. She gave it a 0 out of 10. It is just a bad situation. Now, of course, there are a few things that have gotten some praise, and it makes sense. The bakery items, chocolate muffins, the baguettes, people are actually liking, but I mean, it's France. Come on. But imagine how much this would ruin things for you. You think about it, the Olympics, it's kind of like a really important vacation. And how much would your vacation be ruined if you went and the food, like everything you ate, was just no good, especially if you're going to a place like France where you expect the food to be so good. I mean, that's where RadioU is from. And they're still fumbling the bag when it comes to food. Embarrassing. The France is like this. And as far as like the United States is concerned, I don't understand if we can, like all the money we spend for our Olympic athletes, we can't send a few chefs of our own over there so that they can avoid whatever junk food the French Olympic Committee is pumping out for everybody. I think that would give us actually a real leg up. We'd probably be winning even more gold medals as Americans if we had our own personal chefs. We're going to open up the Hudson hotline for this one.
877-2-RADIO-U.
The question is, what is something that you weren't allowed to have as a kid that it felt like all of your friends were? Let me know your thoughts. Something you weren't allowed to have, something you maybe weren't allowed to watch as a child, weren't allowed to experience that all of your friends seem to get to experience, except for you. You can let me know at 877-2-RADIO-U. I'll start it off with mine. That first comes to mind is, for a while, I was not allowed to experience Pokemon. Eventually, we were able to get my mom to come around on that one. But for some time, Pokemon, the cards, the show, the video games, all of that was a no-go in the Hudson household when I was a Hud child. Fortunately, is it fortunate? I don't know. We got her to come around. What's your answer? Something that you weren't allowed to experience or have as a kid that all of your friends did. 877-2-RADIO-U. Some amazing answers coming in here. Multiple people. I saw Jessica say this. I also saw Matthew say this. They weren't allowed to watch Power Rangers growing up. I love Matthew's answer. He says, when I was little, my mom took away Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers because I used the moves on my sister. So that's something I wasn't allowed to experience. That is amazing. Power Rangers, Jessica, is that why I got taken away from you too? Were you using the Power Rangers moves on your siblings, on neighbors? Listen, I feel like you can take away the Power Rangers, but once you've seen those karate moves, you can never take away those memories and that knowledge. But that is an amazing answer. We also heard, and this is so relatable, I know so many people probably went through this, and that is Susanna says sugary cereal. Of course, so many parents. But the funny thing is, and this probably goes for a lot of the answers that we get for a lot of these, for a lot of the things that are coming in, is like there's stereotypical sugary cereals you weren't allowed to have, but then there's definitely some that weren't actually that good for you, that it's like, yes, this doesn't seem sugary, but then if you actually looked at the ingredients on the side, it probably just had just as much sugar. It just wasn't branded that way. At least I know that's something that I remember from growing up. Along those same similar lines, Chris says any secular music. I know a lot of RadioU listeners are probably right there with you, where your parents were like, well, if it doesn't, if it's not something we could play in church, you're not allowed to listen to it. But what's funny is that, yet again, this totally lines up with the cereal thing. My mom was that kind of mom that was like, yeah, you shouldn't listen to, but some of the music she listened to growing up was totally fine. So, for example, we weren't even allowed. There was a time I had Demon Hunter. I was going to listen to Demon Hunter. She's like, no, you can't have Demon Hunter. Mom, I hope you're listening. I wasn't allowed to listen to Demon Hunter because she didn't like the name. Demons? Hunting demons? I don't think so. Yet, AC/DC, totally fine. Highway to Hell? Yeah, let's do it. Katie says, I wasn't allowed to have a trampoline. Mom thought we'd break our arm. Probably true, but still wish we'd had one. I had a trampoline for a while, Kate. You know what I hated? Although it did lead to some fun games, is that if you had the people now, they have the like nets around the trampoline. That takes away so much of the fun, doesn't it? Like, does that really make it a whole lot safer? Now, Katie, I also think this too. Maybe your mom wasn't as worried about you breaking your arm because, like, you know, your kids, you're going to get injured. But what if your neighbor kid came over? And I feel like that's what parents are more concerned about. It's like they don't want, they don't want to deal with a lawsuit. Jessica did say she teamed up on the neighborhood kids with her Power Rangers moves. I didn't know. I never watched too many Power Rangers. I didn't know that was a thing, attacking the neighbors. This is good. Let's see if we can get some more coming in here. What are things that you were not allowed to experience, watch, have as a child? So many good answers coming in as far as like movies and shows you weren't allowed to watch. Andrea says He-Man. Bailey says Smurfs. Eric says SpongeBob. Nicole says Harry Potter. That's all right, Nicole. Your parents just didn't want you to be a nerd. No, I'm just messing with you, Harry Potter people. But you know what? I don't even know if I was allowed to watch Harry Potter or not. If I really wanted to, would I have been able to? But I just know that was something I had no interest in. And I don't think my mom really particularly cared for it. Outside of movies and TV, we weren't allowed to experience. We also heard from Bobby, who says balloons and bubble gum. That's a good one. I remember my mom, when it comes to balloons, she was concerned of people choking on balloons, especially like children blowing them up. That was a major concern for my mom. We also heard from Matt, who says four-wheeler, which I feel that. And for me, it was one, we didn't have a yard that was big enough. I mean, we had a bigger yard because we lived out in the country, but it wasn't big enough for a four-wheeler. Also, four-wheelers, expensive. And then one of my friends got into a really bad four-wheeler accident. And so that really put an end to that. We heard from Sydney, who says energy drinks. Well, you know what? That's probably, when you're a kid, you have enough energy. You need to add Red Bull to the mix when you're like 13. Probably not. Fired or Hired on the Hudson Show, helping you find answers to your workplace dilemmas. You can send them in anytime at 8772 RadioU. Today's dilemma comes from someone who just started a new job. She says, to start with, I understand that generally no one is entitled to be invited by their coworkers to lunch. But that said, I just joined my new work 3 weeks ago. There's a total of 10 people on the floor I work on. I noticed that around lunchtime every day, all of them leave together to order food and eat, including my manager. And generally, I get ignored and don't even get invited or asked if I want to join. I found their action to be rude by leaving out the only new person in the office all by themselves and not even attempting to invite me. Recently, though, they all gathered and left to order food and have lunch. And as my manager was leaving with them, he stopped at the door, looked at me and said, please call somebody else that works there and tell him we're going out for lunch. Like, what? I found this to be really rude. As a manager, I expect you to have common logic and try to integrate the new person with their colleagues, or at least attempt to invite the new joiner so they don't feel left out. Honestly, I probably would refuse if I was asked to go with them, but the issue for me is I'm not even asked in the first place. So yeah, I get to spend an hour or two every day all by myself in the office. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but the whole thing is making me extremely uncomfortable, and I'm seriously considering looking into other opportunities. Here we go. Fired or Hired on the Hudson Show, 8772 RadioU. What should this person do? They're getting left out of lunch every day, even by the manager, and every single other person they work with, at least on their same department, on their same floor, is going out to lunch together. What's the protocol here? Roman said we assume you don't want to go, so we don't ask you tactic is way too common and super rude. It's actually crazy that out of 10 people there, nobody would talk to you. That sounds like a terrible workplace environment. I'm with you on that, Roman, that the real problem could be not the lunch itself, but just the idea that these are the people you're working with. Doesn't sound like the best ideal workplace. We also heard from Emily, who says maybe you could take the first move and be the one that invites everyone else out to lunch and see what happens. That's putting a lot of, like, there's 10 other people who all should probably know better, including a manager. And I mean, yes, maybe in a perfect world, yeah, they just don't realize. And so you just need to take the first step. But that is a tough first step to take when they seem to be kind of clearly excluding you. Then we heard from Ben, who is on probably the same page I would be, if we're being honest, who says, honestly, solo lunch breaks can be pretty awesome. Catch up on some shows or podcasts or just enjoy the peace and quiet. That's where I'm at, man. I probably would take it a little personally if I was left deserted all alone in the office by myself every day at lunch. But at the same time, I like being by myself so much anyways that I probably would not bat too much of an eye on it. But it is true, going back to Roman's response, that if they're excluding you from lunch, it's not just that you're missing out on lunch and it's rude of them to do that. It's also the workplace environment that they are subjecting you to. And it's going to make it, if you're new there, it's going to make it harder for you to advance as well, if that's something that you even would consider there. So, I mean, is this alone enough to quit, to look somewhere else? It may not be, but I understand totally leaning in that direction because it doesn't sound like a very welcoming place, clearly. There is a new version of the ABCs. Some parents are, let's just say, outraged at learning that their children are learning a different version of the ABC song than they were familiar with from growing up. If you haven't heard it yet, you don't know what I'm talking about. Well, here we go. I'm going to sing it for you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, fine so far. Same as the original. H, I, J, K, L, M, N. What? What happened to L, M, N, O, P? It's coming up next. O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And then here's the kicker. Now I never will forget how to say the alphabet. Yeah, they've changed it. Now you might be wondering why. What was wrong with the ABC song that we all learned growing up? Apparently, the problem is that some kids would get tripped up on the LMNOP, thinking that like LMN is a letter, or even LMNOP is a letter. Also, the Y and Z at the end, apparently confusing for some children. They thought Y and Z is a letter. So I'm really of two minds on this. One, we're changing this because some kids were confused, thought LMNOP was a letter. I always say this, keep this in mind when doing anything with children. Some kids are stupid. You just, what kid in school is going, I think it's spelled LMNOPAB. Like, no kid's doing that. And if they are, they'll learn, they'll figure it out. One day we all did. Nobody grew up and it's not news to anybody now. I'm singing this song and they're like, LMNOP isn't a letter. We all figured it out eventually. So I always say, keep that in mind. That said, whoever came up with this song initially is also possibly stupid because LMNOP isn't arguably way too much crammed in there. There's a much easier, clearer ways to do that. And so I'm not fundamentally opposed to reworking the song. It's even still the same tune. What I don't understand is the end tag. What was so bad about now I know my ABCs, next time won't you sing with me? Do we really need to replace that? Was that confusing kids too? I don't understand that. So at the end of the day, I guess I'm fine with it. I just, some things you just got to learn to let it go. Like the ABC song when you're an adult. While social media so often is a cesspool of nastiness, hurtful words, occasionally, social media can do a bit of good. The collective badgering of a certain company that is over time only made possible in a unique way by social media sometimes winds up having a positive outcome. And that's the exact scenario we find ourselves in today, where Chipotle CEO Brian Niccol just confirmed in a recent earnings call to investors that all 3,500 U.S. Chipotle locations are going to start serving heftier portions of your favorite burrito bowl fillings. Yeah, they've heard all of our outcries. Now, while he's never confirmed that the portions got smaller, does that really matter at this point? That's not what matters. The past is the past. What matters is now we're getting the Chipotle we deserve. As long as it doesn't come with a price increase with it, I think we're all good to go. I haven't had Chipotle in a while. Might have to change that this weekend. With me right now, I have Chris. He's our engineer. We call him Moneybags. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Chris, I've got a couple questions for you. Or the reason I have you here is, one, you're our engineer. You know more than anybody else here, I feel, about technology. So if there's somebody that I trust when it comes to AI, it's you. How do you feel? How would you summarize your feelings on AI, first of all?
Mixed.
I feel like we're all...
I like the idea.
Uh-huh.
It can be used. It can be helpful, but it is not the end all.
Yeah.
No.
It's clearly got a long way to go. Well, Chris, I want to let you know, because I know you, the other reason I brought you in, because I know you have experience with this, is restaurants are testing out, fast food restaurants are testing out using AI in their drive-thrus. I have another restaurant here that's just decided to announce that they're going to start doing that. But we've already experienced this at Wendy's around where the studios are. They're testing out AI in their drive-thrus. For me, I don't have much experience with it because every time I go, I already ordered online. And so I just say, pick up order. And I don't even get to interact. But I know you have, because you've told me about it. So what happened to you at Wendy's?
Oh, goodness. There was this... Okay. Well, I'm cheap, so I'm just getting the very basic meal. The $5, 4 for $5 now, because, inflation, yay. Right. But, so I just order that, and okay, I like to have the biggie bag, whatever, Dave's, blah, blah, blah. And, okay, I'm just expecting it to ask me, okay, what would you like to drink? What sauce would you like with your nuggets? Mm-hmm. No, it asks... Okay, for your 36 orders of chicken nuggets, what sauces would you like? I'm like, I never said 36. So I just had to keep
two entirely other numbers.
I just had to keep saying human. Eventually human came on.
You'd like to order a human. Okay.
And eventually human came on, and they sorted it out. But I'm like, come on, AI. If you're going to be using it during, in a drive-through, mm-hmm. you should throw in a certain simple logic of, this person ordered 36 nuggets. Yeah. That's what I think I heard. I probably should send this to my human folk to confirm that this is actually correct.
Anytime you say anything over 4 things, it should just
there should be some auto threshold, auto logic built in. Because AI, guess what? It's just humans that programmed the AI.
You can tell Chris has thought a lot about this. So
it's so annoying.
At Wendy's, now granted, maybe we should give them a little bit of leeway because they're testing it.
They are testing it. Welcome. You know what? And that's the thing about our city, where RadioU is headquartered. We are the kind of the test headquarter guinea pigs of the United States, I feel like. Well, I mean, we're the home of Wendy's. We're the home of many fast food places. And anytime there's a weird flavor, give it to the Midwestern Ohioans. Let's see what they'll eat. And, hey, look, they'll use AI.
I was also told this by Tim Hortons employees here, which I didn't even ask this. They just started going on. I wasn't even having a conversation. They just started. You know that all of our test stuff is here at Tim Hortons in Columbus. And that's because Columbus, very diverse. It's very representative as well. So I didn't know that. But that's a blessing and a curse. We get a lot of new stuff. We also have to deal with the tests that don't go well.
We're just the guinea pigs.
Yeah. Well, I brought all of this is to say that if we can't trust AI at Wendy's, how do you think it's going to do at Taco Bell, where they've decided to start testing AI drive-thrus?
Well, how can I kindly say this? They may take the order better.
That's possible. I was thinking,
but maybe not.
Yeah.
36 chalupas.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I didn't say chalupa. I said taco. They don't rhyme.
Yeah. I don't want to be too mean to Taco Bell employees, but I was thinking maybe it can't be worse. But I had a good experience at Taco Bell the other night. They weren't the fastest, but they got it all right. But also I thought maybe Taco Bell's the perfect place because as long as they get the amount right, all the ingredients are the same. So even if they get burrito instead of chalupa, it's still the same things
it's
inside.
the same thing,
so.
just for not fried. It's all good.
Maybe Taco Bell is the perfect place for AI.
Either way, you're going to the bathroom.
Get your popcorn ready. It's the weekend watch list on the Hudson Show, letting you know the new movies you could be watching in theaters and at home this weekend. We got a mixed bag of stuff this weekend. New in theaters. We'll start with Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. A man and his teenage daughter realize they're at the center of a dark and sinister event while attending a concert. Seeing the trailer for this one, it's very intriguing. It almost gets my hopes up that M. Night Shyamalan can do something cool again, but then I see the reviews. 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not great, but then again, the featured review, Matt Singer of Screen Crush says, the most overtly Hitchcockian thing Shyamalan's ever made. I love to hear that. Alfred Hitchcock, yeah. So maybe Trap works out, starring Josh Hartnett. Is it the type of movie that I would probably go to see in theaters? Unlikely. Will I watch it? Will I definitely make a point to watch it when it's on streaming? Of course. Maybe that's not for you, but maybe you want something more family-oriented. How about Harold and the Purple Crayon, which is new in theaters this weekend? Buckle up for this one. Inside his book, Adventurous Harold, played by Zachary Levi, can make anything come to life simply by drawing it. After he grows up and draws himself off the book's pages and into the physical world, he soon learns his trusty crayon can set off more hilarious hijinks than he thought possible. However, when the power of unlimited imagination falls into the wrong hands, it will take all of his creativity to save both the real world and his own. That one, only a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not great. Kyle Smith of the Wall Street Journal says the film's effects first, story last strategy is a dismal failure. The charming, gentle simplicity of the book with its childlike art has been displaced by a mania for digital images and frantic attempts to be funny. So maybe Harold and the Purple Crayon, unless you really are dying for a kid's movie, may not be the way to go. But maybe, and especially because you have to pay to go see it, take out the whole family, maybe instead you stay home, turn on Netflix and watch Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Of course, all about SpongeBob. When Bikini Bottom is scooped out of the ocean, Sandy and SpongeBob head to Sandy's home state of Texas, and enlist her family to help save Patrick Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and the rest of the Krusty crew. This one, not many reviews yet. I'll tell you, at least from the critics, the audience score right now, 17%. That's horrible for Rotten Tomatoes. The fans of SpongeBob, not fans of this movie. The one review I have here from Pramit Chatterjee of Digital Mafia Talkies actually says, Saving Bikini Bottom is silly, fun, and delivers a surprisingly relevant commentary on consumerism. Excuse me, it's SpongeBob. I don't need a commentary. I just want to laugh. I don't know. It is on Netflix, so that's probably the most likely thing any of us are going to watch, right? Or Deadpool and Wolverine, of course. If you see anything good this weekend, let me know at 8772-RadioU. I'm always intrigued to hear your reviews. Of course, we'll see you at the movies. You can also find me on TikTok at Hudson RadioU, where Nikki, you found me on TikTok. Well, I guess you've been following me for a while, but you were telling me yesterday, because we were talking off the air, about how you've been taking note of my trip to Tennessee.
I did. It actually got pushed to me too, because I usually just stay on For You page. And I was like, wait, there's Hudson. Yay, Hudson. And I was like, why is Hudson in Tennessee? Oh, he's vlogging.
That's how you know that it must be good if TikTok's like, who should see this? Nikki.
It's me.
Who knows how many TikToks I've made doing other stuff that you never got to see.
Well, I enjoyed it because just knowing you, and I know how sometimes you like things, but then also don't. I know you like doing TikToks, but I could just imagine because you're doing voiceover with it. I was like, I wonder if Hudson really likes doing voiceover on these.
It was, so I've made like a handful now. I did a few like more around home that I was just like, I don't know what inspired me to do it, but I was like, you see the stuff on TikTok all the time. At least I do. I think I could do at least as good a job as many as the other people. And so,
as you are, yeah.
Yeah. And so then I started just like kind of trying to film stuff as I go and then add like, I don't know what the right word would be, like pithy jokes about.
You're doing that.
Yeah.
It's very much like a dad joke.
Yeah. Like I'm promoting, like, you know, like I'm enjoying the experience, but I can't actually genuinely have a good time. So I'm making fun of all the, like I did one at Buc-ee's and I'm making fun of Buc-ee's, even though I liked Buc-ee's. I liked going to the world's biggest Buc-ee's, but
I like the style of it. But I thought, I wonder if, because, okay, voiceover is like when the video is already edited and then, you know, the content creators, you know, in the background saying things that go over the video.
Yeah.
And so like a play-by-play sort of thing. And I thought, I wonder if Hudson's like in his closet at home or are you doing it at work? It was just like, I wonder when he's doing his voiceover for this stuff.
I was doing it at work because it's soundproof in here, so it sounds better.
It sounds better. Well, I liked your Buc-ee's one. I saw you climbing up a thing. And then like the Tennessee. So I didn't know if next week Hudson's in Connecticut, are you going to do a TikTok vlog then?
We'll see if I do anything interesting enough to be worth that. But
are you saying Connecticut is not interesting?
Yeah, I don't know that there's as much going on in Connecticut. We shall see. And I don't know if I'm really confident enough that I could be like, here's me at the airport and like start making fun of stuff there. But I think I still have at least one more from Tennessee I haven't posted yet because I haven't exactly been speedily going along making those, but I do. There will be more coming at Hudson RadioU on TikTok.
If you want this to be your new thing, remember if you're gunning for getting like a TikTok partnership sort of thing where you get paid.
Oh yeah,
your videos need to be over a minute.
Over a minute.
You have to have them over a minute for them to count. So get going on that. You're going to have to make things happen in Connecticut. You have to create. So create a problem, make it over a minute, and then that'll help towards your goal.
I have noticed that. I'm still unsure how much lying and fakery I want to do. Because I know that's the way to get views. I've watched YouTube and TikTok. I know or to even not have anything you lie or fake about, but just act like something's going wrong. Like, here's my problem in Connecticut, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and it's not really that big of a problem.
Well,
I can do that.
You need to get Connecticut people following you because you also have to get at least 10,000 followers.
Oh, I got to work on that. I don't know if this is going to be a real money-making venture for me after all.
I know. Then you're like, I'm just doing more work.
It's so, when you put it that way, it's so overwhelming.
You do a good job, though. So everybody needs to follow Hudson on TikTok and make sure that you're seeing what he does. And you can follow me at RadioU Nikki, where every once in a blue moon we make one.
Hey, I those haven't been pushed to me for some reason.
Well, mine's bringing in views. No,
I do have to hand it to you. I do have to hand it to you, Nikki. You've taken something I was having a small amount of fun doing, and now you've placed a burden of expectations on it where I don't think I can have fun anymore.
Well, and now it's also a tax write-off because it's business. So come on, Hudson. Do I need to get there and manage you again?
You want to know a secret? Is that a lot of the places that I was posting anyways, I was getting in for free.
There you go. That's it. Oh, you need to disclose that.
That's a benefit enough. That's a benefit enough.
Well, we love Hudson on TikTok, so we need to always make sure to follow.
The Olympics are the talk of the town, of course. Everybody seems to be watching them, at least a lot of people. How many people? Well, get this. Since the day, in the 5 days or so that the Olympics have been going on so far, NBC reports that there have been over 8 billion streaming minutes of people watching the Olympics. That is more. So far in the Olympics, in a reminder, we're not even halfway through. That's more streaming minutes than the entirety of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics and the 2022 Beijing Olympics combined. And yeah, we're like a third of the way through, if that. People have been streaming like crazy. The Olympics. Now, granted, there's been a lot of changes between then and now, just in the last few years. Of course, the time differences are different, but whatever it is, people are watching way more Olympics, especially during the day, than they were in the past couple go-rounds of the Olympics. On top of that, because of the time frame, the Olympics are taking place live, and the fact that people are able to stream them on their phone from pretty much anywhere has also led to people being way less productive at work, according to Molly Solomon, who is the president and executive producer for NBC's Olympics production. She said that they found that 1 in 4 people have seen their work productivity decline during the Olympics. Is there anything more American than making a large event all about productivity? There are other things that are more important, like winning gold medals. Who cares how much work we get done these 3 weeks? We got to cheer on our guys and gals overseas. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.